Hey everyone, welcome back to Sunset Salutations. We have completed our exploration of Dan Harris's 10% Happier. So today we begin with a new text. This is Mindfulness in Plain English. While I've really enjoyed this book, I wouldn't say that it would be a recommendation for me as far as purchasing. I think we will be able to cover some of the best bits through this class, and that it's not one that you really need to have in your personal library. Great. So the title of this one is right on the nose. It's just some very specific, simplistic instructions on how to get the most out of your practice. So let's begin with the section on attitude. 1. Don't expect anything. Just sit back and see what happens. Treat the whole thing as an experiment. Take an active interest in the test itself, but don't get distracted by your expectations about the results. For that matter, don't be anxious for any result whatsoever. Meditative awareness seeks to see reality exactly as it is. It requires a temporary suspension of all of our preconceptions and ideas. 2. Don't strain. Don't force anything or make grand, exaggerated efforts. Meditation is not aggressive. There is no violent striving. Just let your effort be relaxed and steady. 3. Don't rush. There is no hurry, so take your time. Settle yourself on a cushion and sit as though you have the whole day. Anything really valuable takes time to develop. Patience, patience, patience. 4. Don't cling to anything and don't reject anything. Let come what comes and accommodate yourself to that. Whatever it is. If good mental images arise, that is fine. If bad mental images arise, that is fine too. Look on all of it as equal and make yourself comfortable with whatever happens. Don't fight with what your experience is. Just observe it all mindfully. 5. Let go. Learn to flow with all the changes that come up. Loosen up and relax. 6. Accept everything that arises. Accept your feelings, even the ones you wish you did not have. Accept your experiences, even the ones you hate. Don't condemn yourself for having human flaws and failings. Learn to see all the phenomena in the mind as being perfectly natural and understandable. Try to exercise a disinterested acceptance at all times and with respect to everything you experience. 7. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. You may not be perfect, but you are all you've got to work with. The process of becoming who you will be begins first with the total acceptance of who you are. 8. Investigate yourself. Question everything. Take nothing for granted. The entire practice hinges upon this desire to awake the truth. Without it, the practice is superficial. 9. View all problems as challenges. Look upon negatives that arise as opportunities to learn and grow. 10. Don't ponder. You don't need to figure everything out. Discursive thinking won't free you from the trap. Habitual deliberation is not necessary to eliminate those things that are keeping you in bondage. All that is necessary is a clear, non-conceptual perception of what they are and how they work. Don't think, see. 11. Don't dwell upon contrasts. This is what Dan Harris talked about in the previous text about the comparing mind. A man seeing another man on the street may immediately think he is better looking than I am. We compare our looks with others, our success, our accomplishments, our wealth, possessions, or IQ, and all this leads to is the same state: estrangement, barriers between people, and ill feeling. The meditator's job is to cancel this unskillful habit by examining it thoroughly and then replacing it with another. Breathing is a universal process. And with that, let's get our body ready to fully enjoy its breath. Excellent. I'm going to find myself on my knees here. I'm just going to move my cushion to the top of my mat. And I'm going to take a deep breath in here and find strength in my core and check in with my body to make sure that I have a 90-degree angle at my shoulder and at my hip. From here, I'm just going to let a small circle begin at the top of my head. Teensy, teensy, tiny. I'm going to let that circle begin to spiral out. Get larger. Until I'm really noticing that my neck is fully exploring the edges of its mobility. Good. And we're going to start the other way, reversing the spiral and its direction. Starting off with nice big circles until we're slowly going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Good. We're going to do the same activity just with our tailbone. So starting with a tiny, tiny circle, we're going to let that circle grow. Good. Until you feel like the back has to be involved in order to accommodate the size of the circle. Excellent. Now we're going to reverse, going the other way, starting with our large circles until we get a little smaller and a little smaller until we have teensy tiny little circles. Good. That really helps me to figure out where the center of my alignment is. I have a much better sense now of where my neck needs to fall to hold my head in perfect alignment and where my vertebrae create a solid pillar to sit on top of my hips. Excellent. From there, I'm going to bring my toes together, widen out my stance, and I'm just going to come back all the way, weighing down into the mat. I'm going to push with my hands, push with my fingertips. Good. From here, you're just going to bring your chin up and back. Chin all the way up, creating a small arch in the upper spine, all the way up and down, all the way up and down. Good. Now I'm going to bring my hands out even further, tented hands, nice, and just allow myself to get a good stretch here. Breathing in and out, trying to find those shoulders down the back. Excellent. And I'm going to bring my hands in close to the crown of my head, create a triangle. My elbows are about in line with my eyes. And from here, I'm just going to push up and drop down. Good. Pushing up and drop down. Pushing up. See if you can get just a touch further. And down. All the way up. Good. And drop down. I feel that right in my upper back, close to the vertebra. Excellent. Just let yourself rest for a moment here. See if you can notice any muscular tension. And if instead you can find yourself sinking into the skeletal structure, sinking into the floor, almost imagining that the muscle and slide off the bone. And just release into the ground. On each inhale, allowing the spine to stretch. On each exhale, allowing the muscles to melt. 3 more breaths here. When you're ready, sitting all the way up. Good. If it's helpful for you in this position to utilize your cushion, just to help you get all the way up there. Good. I'm just going to take your hands beneath you. Just lightly pull. Breathing deeply here. Awesome. Now I'm going to put my cushion in the center of my mat, my zafu, and I'm going to find this. On your next inhalation, allow the spine to rise. On your next exhalation, find your seat weighted and allow the eyes to close. Find yourself connected with your breath. If you find it helpful to utilize a mantra to find connection with your breath, breathe in deeply, length, and breathe out, weight. When the mind begins to wander, bring yourself back to the breath. Release any judgment. Allow yourself to find acceptance here. However the practice is today, accept it. Find yourself only curious, without criticism. just for a moment now, allow the mind to wander. Observe where it goes. And when you're ready, bring yourself back to the body. Notice the feeling of your seat upon the cushion. Maybe wiggle the fingers and toes and allow the eyes to open. Thank you for finding the time today to spend moments in the present. This has been Sunset Salutations.